was
I
trying to
was trying
pull
to
up
pull
some
up some
information
information
too. I'm
too.
getting
I'm getting
feedback now.
You are? I don't have it. Hey, everybody.
So maybe it's just me.
Maybe it's just you. Maybe it's because you have the headphones.
I don't know.
Okay, but we are live, everybody.
I
Welcome.
don't know, but
Welcome
I
to In the
miss
Late.
my girls.
Okay, could we just get started with the show first?
Okay,
I
fine.
do a quick little introduction.
Oh, but
Welcome
I
to In the
miss
Late.
my girls.
Okay, could we just get? You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so good evening, everybody, and welcome to In the Ladies' Room with Nikki and Michelle. We are here this evening. Welcome and come on into the room. Hit like, share, join the conversation. We are talking about dating over 40 today. So we hope you will share your experiences, your stories. Ladies, if you are over 40 and you have some comments about or experiences about dating that you would like to share, we welcome. Michelle, anything you want to talk about in our introduction before we get started?
Nothing in particular. Just wanted to say I miss my girls. I apologize for not being on early last week, but I'm so excited to be here this week. And I'm here for this conversation. I just have to say, I am here for all of it. Um, so I'm excited. I'm just waiting for the girls to get here. Let us know that you're here, ladies. Come on in, say hello. Let us know that you're here, that you see us, that you hear us. Everything is working well so that we can immediately jump into the conversation. Say, hey, girl, hey.
Yes. I don't understand why, for some reason, though, on Facebook it's a little delayed. I'm not really,
Let us know that you're here, ladies. Come.
I don't know. But anyway, we're here, and it looks like it's a little delayed on Facebook, but that's okay.
How can you tell?
Because I have it open in my other screens. Yes, so it's moving swiftly on YouTube. It's apparent that YouTube is a better social
we
media.
on YouTube too?
Yes, ma'am, we are.
Oh, I had no idea. Like and subscribe. I always wanted to say that too.
Yes.
Welcome to our channel. Like and subscribe below.
Okay, so we'll get started on the topic. We decided to come to you guys this evening with this topic because for so many women moving into their 40s and 50s and even 60s, if you are not attached by this time, it always is so difficult to approach the issue of dating. And for African American women, it's even more difficult because the pickings are sometimes so slim. So I'm going to play just a small clip of something from Steve Harvey that I want you guys to listen to. And just let me know your thoughts about it. The ladies in this particular video, you won't be able to see the video. You'll just be able to hear it because I'm not that up on my technology yet. But we coming, we moving. We'll get there soon.
I'm taking notes.
Yes, take notes. But the small clip is with women who are in their 30s, successful African American women. So just real quick, I just want you to hear about what they're going through.
Make a wish. Nicole Marchand is celebrating another birthday. At 31, she's accomplished a lot. She's a prosecuting attorney and running for state court judge.
It'll be a $500 fine.
Nicole isn't the kind of woman you'd find standing by on the sidelines of life. But you would find her here, at the Georgia Dome, cheering on the Atlanta Falcons. You've heard of a man's man. Nicole is the quintessential man's woman. She appears to have it all, and yet she's still single. 42% of Black women have never been married. That's double the number of never married white women.
I look forward to the day. I look forward to being married.
It's just not that easy. For starters, there are more Black women than Black men, 1.8 million more. So even if every black man in America married a black woman today, 1 out of 12 still wouldn't make it down the aisle. Let's take 100 black men. If you eliminate those without a high school diploma, those without a job, and the number of black men between the ages of 25 and 34 who are incarcerated, that leaves only about half of black men eligible to pop the question. Nicole sees the problem every day.
It is sad to see that the majority of the defendants that we prosecute are black males. Those numbers can be very disappointing.
Admittedly, the selection of men is slim.
Okay, I'm gonna leave it right there and let us kind of jump into the discussion from there. So as you hear on the, I shared the link so you could watch it at your leisure too, if you would like later on. But as you hear on the particular clip, they talk about how there's such a slim picking of eligible black men that even if every black man married a black woman, we'd still outnumber them and not have enough black men for a black woman. So for black women who wish to be with black men, it's even more difficult. So, this is not the subject of the topic of being with a black man. The subject is actually dating. So if there is a small pool to date from, you want to consider that dating, especially over a certain age. Because now remember in the clip, this young lady was 31 years old. But after a certain age, dating can be a little bit more difficult in some instances. Well, actually, let's just, I would say it depends on how you look at it, which is what we'll get into. But these young women who I'm sure have options or go out, and like this young lady, not only was she an attorney, but she was also a cheerleader. So I'm sure she had plenty of opportunity to meet any different kinds of men from every spectrum of life. So what I want to know is why does it seem to be so difficult to date after a certain age? Anybody have any thoughts about that? And I'll tell you mine, but I just want to hear some of yours first. And Michelle?
So wait a minute, because even just listening to that clip opened up a Pandora's box. So I told you I was taking notes.
Go.
As always, us poor black women find ourselves in a conundrum. So I just started to listen to even the basic statistics that Steve Harvey started running down. There are already a multitude more black women than there are black men. So we already in the hole. We coming out of the gate in the hole. Then you talk about, he mentioned men without diploma. I don't know if that's necessarily a deal breaker because, there are challenges, things happen. I know a whole lot of successful men that don't have diplomas. A job, I don't know. We might have to think twice because the Bible says a man that don't work, he don't eat. But that's neither here nor there. And then we talk about all the men that are incarcerated, which is a whole other issue that we're dealing with. So we have all of these things to contend with. And dare I throw out there, Nikki, the ones that do make it, the ones that are successful, for whatever reason, decide that they want to have white women. But I'm not even going to go there. So we're already behind the 8 ball. Then last week we had the nerve to talk about the angry black women, right? But it's because for so long we have to do all of these things on our own. So now I'm confronted with how do we find ourselves in hearty, happy, loving situations where the pool that we have to work with clearly is already lacking, for a lack of a better word. And then how do we build on those relationships? Not to mention the fact that in and of itself, forget about black men, white men, any man, dating itself is hard. Like, coming from a married place, I honestly don't know if I could even compete today with all that's going on. It's just different. I wouldn't even know where to begin. Let me
just say on that point alone that you opened up, and before I say, let me just say hi to people. Hey Tanya, Hey, Markel. Hey, Jessica. I see you. I just wanted to say, let me highlight Tanya's comment too while we going along here. I'm here. Okay. So one of the things that I would say concerning what you just said, at this particular time in my life, and now I'm over 50, which is even more of a challenge, I believe. But I wouldn't even know how to approach dating now.
Well, that's
Like,
what I'm saying.
where do you even go to? Where do I go to meet? So I'm not gonna go to a club. But back in the day when we were young and supple, and we
Exactly.
we went to the club, we could chill, we have a good time, and you met plenty of men, and you dated men. But at this age, it's like, where would I even? How would I even look for a man? If I was looking for a man, what would I do? What would I say? Do men approach women anymore? I mean, that whole dynamic is so difficult now as you start to get up in age. And what would make it even more difficult is if you did find pleasure, be quiet, DY. Sugar Bills is over. But if you did meet somebody, I think the terms of a relationship for me now are so much different than what they had been in my 20s or even in my 30s. Like at 50 now, if I met somebody and they said they had little kids, that would be a wrap for me. I mean, what am I gonna do with little kids?
Really?
Really?
Even now?
Especially and I'm just gonna say, I hate to, put all my stuff out there. Good evening, Miss. Wait, sorry, I had to.
She got a pump, y'all.
I got to do my pump. I'm sorry, but I don't know. I mean, at this stage in my life, when I'm going through some medical challenges, and I'm pretty much settled in my own life. My own child is way, way grown. I don't think that I could date somebody who had children who were, let's just say, at least under 20, because at any child under 20, that father still needs to be in that child's life in a very significant way. And I mean, I don't want to sound selfish, but I'm at an age in my life where I feel like, my partner and I really need to be companions for one another. And, I just don't see where there's room for that with little kids.
Right. So here's the thing, though. Here's what I'm hearing. So I think when you get a certain age to begin with, your whole dynamic changes, in the sense that people have said for the longest time, when you get a certain age, there are certain things that you won't put up with in your 40s or 50s that you may have put up with in your, let's say, 20s and even potentially early 30s. Like, there's certain things where, as an older woman particularly, what you want, what you don't want, what you like, what you don't like. All that being said, does it, and I think what I'm hearing from you at this point is not necessarily that you're being selfish, but I think that being a woman of a certain age, you're just really clear about what type of interaction you want in your life at that time, right? So, that could just be, so that means that you have to really kind of date somebody who's compatible, and that could be a form of compatibility. That doesn't necessarily mean that, you're being selfish, but I still feel concerned for a couple of reasons. One, like I said, at this stage of the game, at this stage of the game, I don't even know where I would start. Like, I couldn't even wrap my brain around, being out here trying to date at this point. Because dating is, I feel like, completely different. Social media has ruined everybody, right? So dating now is completely different from what it ever was, in my opinion. And it was challenging to some degree back then. And I just think it's 3 times. You don't know who to trust. You don't know who to believe. I mean, there's so many things going on. So does that mean, first of all, as a woman of a certain age, that you don't deserve love? I don't believe so. I don't believe so.
I mean,
but how do we go about dating at this point?
I mean, I get what you're saying. It's not that I believe that you don't I believe every woman deserves love and deserves love from a very, um, from good men who love you and love you unconditionally.
Mm-hmm.
The thing for me is, what does that mean for people? You understand what I'm saying? And how you at this age in my life, and this stage in my life, you want to make sure that the person that you meet is not only compatible, but they are pretty much that they're
Stable.
exactly stable, but not only just stable with their finances and with their life and with their career goals or whatever that is, but emotionally stable. Like, you want to make sure that that person is not bringing old baggage from old relationships, that they, not still haven't taken care of mommy drama or daddy drama. At this stage in the game, it should just really be a place
Wait,
where
what you mean by like mommy and daddy drama?
that they
Like what
bring in things from their unhealed
from their
past,
okay, from their childhood, like
right?
growing
That
up.
they haven't healed as as an adult.
Right.
And I'm very clear on sometimes what that might look like for a lot of people. And I
Right.
think for me anyway, that is definitely a barrier. The fact that I'm trained in clinical social work is that I see a lot of stuff coming before I get there. And so a lot of times I might be blocking things that I probably should not block.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that could be somewhat of a conundrum for me anyway, because I'm very clear when I see crazy, I'm crossing the street.
That's your thing. That's your motto for
Yes,
2020,
that's
I've
my
noticed.
motto. I stole that one from Iana Van Zandt, but for real, I cross the street real fast because I mean, I don't know about other people, but for me, my sanity and my mental solace is better than being with somebody else. If I have to deal with drama, I'd rather be alone.
Right. Well, I think a lot of people think that way, right? There's that old saying, I could do bad by myself. I don't need you to help me do bad. And I just feel like, so that's a fine line though, because I feel like you want to be with a partner that enhances your life. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to always be taking care of you or doing everything for you. But what I don't want to do is have to be taking care of you. That I'm not doing. So we
Exactly.
have to both be in a situation where we're both bringing something to the table. Kim said being equally yoked, being equally meshed, right? So that we can work together and create this situation. But why is it not happening? Why is there such a challenge? Is it because of, the disparity in numbers, because there's not enough people, or not enough eligible men out there? Or is it because I don't know what it is. I think I'm really trying to I wanted to use this conversation with all the ladies in the room to be able to help me understand, what that even looks like. I guess I consider myself grateful at this point that I ain't out there, you know, but I still believe that my sisters, my seasoned sisters, are still worthy of love. And so, what does that look like? We have amazing, amazing, and we know, both of us know amazing, eligible, dynamic, sophisticated, stunning, women who don't have partners. Why?
Mhm.
What does that mean, Kim? Broaden your horizons. What does that look like? Go outside your race? Is that it?
I think that is really gonna have to be
It
a
is
thing.
clearly.
It's gotta be a thing that you gotta be willing to date outside of your race.
Yeah.
And even outside, not only outside of your race, maybe even outside of your 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 age range or what you thought might have been. Because for me, I like older men. I've never been attracted to a younger man. So maybe I might have to adjust that a little bit, you
Right.
know, and stop assuming that a younger man could not do for me what an older man would do for me.
Well, listen, honey, let me be the first person to say something to be said about an older man.
Mhm.
And I would know. That's all I'm saying about that. Um, but no, I think there is something to be said, but I think it really depends on the person.
Mhm.
Wait, Kim said older to a degree.
Mhm.
Tell us more about that, Kim.
Yes. Well, for me, I would date somebody up to 15 years older than me. I
Okay.
stopped, 65, 66. I will put the brakes on for me.
Right.
But younger, I've never dated a younger man in my life ever. So I think that if I had to if I had to open things up, I probably would not go down under 5 years. But again, like you said, what does the dating look like? Because how do you even approach it? It's like, I would not know how to approach somebody, I don't believe, because dating is so different. Like, back in the day, you are used to men approaching you, but are we changing the tables now? Are we approaching
I
men?
think everything has changed. I think the whole entire game has changed. I don't think anything that we've done, in the past is the norm. I think everything has really changed. Everything about it. But when you go outside your race with the Caucasian male, you get looked down upon, as if your power just ain't for our black people.
Yes, because look at how people are doing Kamala Harris, because she's married to a white man.
Yeah.
So, there are lots of stigma behind dating outside of your race, but it's just so unfortunate that because we don't really have a choice, if you want to date, you are going to have to, like Kim said,
Broaden your horizons.
and look for something that you might have never thought of in the past.
I don't know. So here's what I'm thinking about. Cause listen, y'all, listen, y'all know I've been there, done that too. And you're right. There's always that stigma. There's always that situation. I don't even know. I know I got a bunch of girlfriends on here. I don't even know if I ever shared this story with anybody, but I'm sharing it with y'all tonight. So, I was married to a man outside of my race before. And I will never forget, his grandmother passed away, and we were at the house at the repast, or whatever you want to call it. And I'll never forget my ex-sister-in-law's friend, and I'm talking pure white, right? My ex-sister-in-law's friend comes in. I'm the only black face in the house. And she immediately turns to me and says, "Were you Nana's nurse?"
Ooh, microaggress. Ooh, that wasn't even a microaggression. That was
And I was like,
straight
now what made you think I was the nurse? And she turned beet red, and my sister-in-law came, like OJ Simpson, jumping over the couch, cussing her out, talking about, how dare you talk to her like that? But I was like, it is it is what it is, right? But it's true. But there are certain things that when it comes to love, right, I guess you decide what you're gonna deal. It goes back to what I said earlier. You decide what you're gonna deal with and what you're not gonna deal with. And I think it also depends upon you and how you handle it. I'm married to a good. Listen, ladies, don't worry about. Don't cry for me, Argentina, because I'm married to a good old black man right now. But it just really goes to show it's rough out here in these streets.
Yeah,
So,
and I want to laugh a little bit at what Sharon, what Tina got up there, because she said they might not have the mojo. But guess what, Tina? I know for me, I mean, back in the day, I want you to have the mojo, but right now I don't even care. Just sit on this couch and watch a good old movie with me and have a glass of wine.
And see, and that's the other thing. To your point, Nikki, that's the other thing. When you become a woman of a certain age, don't get me wrong, sex is still important. But it's different, right? Like, it becomes companionship. It becomes somebody that you can share intimacies with. And intimacy is not solely sex. It's having somebody to talk to, or listen, or not talk to, whatever it is. Because there are days, look, I know my sister on here, she can attest. There are days I barely come out of my room. I'm doing my thing upstairs. He doing his thing downstairs. But that works for us. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just the companionship. We both in the house together, and then when we get together and we do our thing, we do our thing. But it is what it is. So the whole relationship changes. And so I think it's Kim said, nah, sex is very important. Okay, Kim, we hear you. We hear you, Kim. We hear you. But it's I don't know. I think I'm just still
Like,
trying
Kim
to
got me.
figure out. Kim is a mess, right? Kim is a mess. Um, yeah, I think I'm still just trying to figure it out.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I agree with her though. The sex is very important, but
It is. It
for
really,
me,
I get
anyway,
that.
for me, I always feel like sex starts in the mind for me, and so I need you to turn me on mentally first. And once you do that,
Right.
I mean, sex can be what you wind up making it. It's so that's neither here nor there for me what the sex is like, because I really believe that if you stimulate the mind, the body is gonna follow along anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But at this age, I just feel like I'm. I mean, I'm well in my condition. I'll probably never ever go to a club again. So that's not for me. You know what I'm saying? And,
Right.
at this point in time, the way things are rolling around here, whoever I meet gonna have to ring this doorbell. So literally, somebody gonna have to look for me ringing the doorbell.
Mm-hmm.
These are some of the dilemmas that I think that older people face that younger people don't. That just being out in the world, period, as you get older, it slows down a little bit. And so those opportunities to make relationships and make friendships with men are a lot less than they would be. Especially if you in the age range of 60 where you're about to retire and you don't even go to work anymore. So all of these things change that.
Right.
And that's what that's for me anyway, what makes a big difference.
So it's interesting though, right? Because because we got a million conversations going on right now. I don't want to get too far off topic, but what do we do for all my older sisters in the room? And it doesn't matter if you married or not married. How do you approach dating in 2020?
Right.
How
And
do you approach dating
I
in
was
2020?
getting ready to say, yes, date Drew Water. I'm not supposed to say men, but anyway. Yes,
and
I was
Landy,
about to say with COVID
in COVID days, right? So, and then Landy also put up a post earlier. I missed it, but she was saying how a lot of people are using dating sites. Is that what we resort to now? You go on a dating site, and I mean, I don't know.
See, and for me, I'm this. That's why I'm single. I admit that I'm very I'm very rigid in my thinking with dating, and so that's probably one of the reasons I remain single.
What do you mean rigid in your
I have
dating?
just certain things that I'm not gonna do. Like I'm not gonna date online. That's just too scary for me. And I know a lot of people who have gotten married and been in long-lasting relationships.
Oh yeah.
But it's just not for me. I don't think that I will feel comfortable. I need to feel your energy.
Right.
I don't think it comes across on a computer screen. So
if we're not in the club anymore and we don't find ourselves at all of these, events, so to speak, how do you meet? Oh, so Doris said dating sites, but friends and family introducing you. That's true. So I guess friends of friends, you find yourself in certain situations.
Okay, so, see, she see the bullshit coming. See, and I just can't. I don't have the time, the energy. The dating sites is just that wouldn't be an option for me. Now, I was suggesting with one of my other girlfriends that what I would love to see happen is if somebody has some kind of a soiree, right? Not a club party, but just a nice event where, say, there was a young man in my life in the past who I know was a very nice man, would make a great relationship with the right woman, but he just wasn't for me. And so I invite him to the soiree to meet other single women. And then he invites, well, we don't want too many other women, but because that's what makes, the pool different. But anyway, just a soiree where you bring other people that would be good mates for people, but they weren't for you. And they get to mingle and mix with other men and women, and you enjoy the company. You figure out, just create new ways of networking with solid people. Because that's the whole thing about dating, right? Is that you want to kind of get past all of the junk and see, is this person a solid person?
Right.
Well, the person that you dated before could vouch for you, they just wasn't for you. That cuts through a lot of the digging to find out if this person is solid.
So he's been vetted at that point.
Exactly.
He's been vetted. I mean, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead and read that one so I take a sip of water, Michelle.
Doris says, I'm with you, Nikki. I have a friend who is getting married to her website boo on the 25th.
Oh.
I mean, it happens. It happens a lot. And I think it probably even happens far more often than we realize. I think that people really heavily, more than we realize, heavily rely on internet dating. I hear little tidbits here and there about people going on and, oh, I met him online, I met him here, I met him there. I don't know. I think it depends on you personally. I think certain people have even kind of formed a process around it. Maybe they meet people online and they meet them in public the first couple of times. They don't meet them anywhere. You know what I mean? Like they have a strategy, if you will, but it just doesn't feel organic to me, which is weird.
I know, and like I have a brother who's been married to his wife for I want to say 20 years or more, that he met her online. So it worked for them. I mean, it works in some, but it just has to be something that's for you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And
now Stacey also brings up an interesting point too. She's like, they so busy surfing Facebook or Messenger and blocking so you can't see what they're doing. Right. So that's the other thing that makes you wonder, am I the only one you talking to? Because if you're saying all these things to me, how many other people are you on here talking to and saying the same thing?
You know how many men slide in my inbox and then I go on their page and find out that they got a lady?
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
And that's why I'm not comfortable with that. I'm not really comfortable with that online interaction. Although I will.
Oh my God! Wait, catch Vanessa's comment.
Wait, okay, we are.
I have a friend that used to use the dating site only to find that the man that was dressed as a businessman was actually homeless. And he used someone else's picture. That's what you call catfish.
Catfishing.
There's a whole show about that. That's catfishing.
And so how scary is that? Is so.
I mean, really.
Scary. That is so scary for me.
And
so
I'm addicted to that show too, by the way. And you would be shocked. The fact that they can even keep a show on for that long. And it goes to show you how often people are manipulating other people on social media. You show up thinking you've been talking. I mean, people been talking to these partners for 10 years to show up and find out it's a girl or it's a dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. Kim says, trust and believe they're talking to other people as they should be. Yeah, Christy crazy. Christy talking about she need a millionaire matchmaker. Why are you frozen, Nikki? Okay, Nikki's frozen. I don't know what happened, but not 100 for you. It's other things that are always in the mix or a part of the equation. Tell me more about that, Stacey. I'm not quite sure I understand that one. Carla says, I don't meet on Facebook. I'm afraid. Kim, you on a roll tonight. Yeah, you could be married and not know the man that you're sleeping next to. That's a scary thought. I wish I could pull up some of these comments, but Nikki is the one who has the ability. Yeah, Kim, it really is. It's all a crapshoot. It's all a crapshoot. But what does that do to the psyche of us as women who want companionship? Like, what do we do with that? Because we know it's a crapshoot. We know that the pool is limited. We know that there are certain challenges that we deal with today when it comes to dating that we didn't necessarily have to deal with before. So, like, what does that mean? Stacy, why you say that? Stacy said, Michelle, they don't want women like us. Why? Why? And Doris, what you mean? Just read them. Read them how? So Stacy says they talk about the strong women, the educated woman, then go get a woman, the entrepreneur, the money maker. They don't want us, the host, the hustler. They don't want us. I mean, I don't know about that, Stacy. Again, I think it all kind of goes back to just finding the right person and finding the one that's compatible for you. But I like Kim's comment. Kim said, "Don't give up hope. Unfortunately, you may have to reevaluate your deal breakers, and that is for sure." Oh, okay. They want the women they can get over. What does that mean, Stacy? They want the women that they can get over on. How so? I don't know. If I started dating right now, would I need to go get liposuction? Would I need like fat transfer, butt implants? Some of us, Lavina Ann Johnson says, some of us are blocking our husbands by clinging to the wrong men. How is your husband going to see you if you refuse to release a man that is meant for someone else? Girl, you better preach. Oh, I need Nikki back in here to put that post up. That was a good one. The hood rats, the rats of women, those are the ones that they want. You can't get over on anyone unless they let you. That's true. Difference between dating and courting. At this stage in my life, I want to date and enjoy life. I've been married before. I want solid friendship. Yes. Solid friendship before committing my life to someone. Because them women, they can get over on with stay there and take all that bull crap until they're just done and over it. Now, Doris, what you talking about? Move in their home, spend their money, drive their cars. Are you talking about the man or the woman? I don't know, ladies. I still wish we had a better opportunity, a better way of dating in 2020. Oh, the men. Yeah, the men, they move in. Yeah, but again, like to Kim's point, you got to let them do that. I was over by my father's house the other night. We watched that movie called Acrimony. I don't know if anybody's ever seen that movie. It's a Tyler Perry movie. And Taraji P. Henson is in it. And I was fascinated by how she met this guy back in college, and she basically did everything for him, helped him get through school and all that. But in the end, it turns out he really loves her, but then he ended up getting extremely wealthy and giving everything to the new chick. And that's when Taraji lost it. And I don't know, is that something else that we're guilty of? Because we know that, I don't know, the man pool for us is lacking. And so we go above and beyond, consistently trying to make these men happy. And then when they reach their pinnacle, they reach a level of success. The next thing you know, they off to the next one. What does that look like? Yeah, but her sisters were telling her, Landy said she was too busy listening to her sisters, but her sisters were telling her truth at the time. Yeah, Kim. We grow up, we live and learn. She said, Kim said at 20 something, he might be able to get away with that, get that off. But at 50, absolutely not. Yeah. I had never seen the movie. I just caught it the other day, and I have to say I was intrigued. But it was an interesting take, especially leading up to this conversation. It's kind of not what we're talking about, but it was in some ways relevant to see how we participate in these relationships, how we respond in these relationships as women, but specifically as Black women, keeping our standard and all the things that we have to deal with. I wonder how much of knowing the lack of availability in our culture and in our environment plays a role in how we engage and interact with men. I'm just curious about that. Does it make us, I don't know, somehow, I don't want to use the term desperate because I don't believe we're desperate, but does it make us more inclined to try harder to stay in relationships, be in relationships, or get in relationships for that matter, for the sake of a relationship? I hope not. But all these amazing comments. I was celibate and not dating anyone when God let my husband find me. Yes. I almost walked away from him. Our first date was at church. That's a great first date. I've never been so happy. I was a widow before I met him and making the wrong dating choices. I got married this July. Congratulations. That's a beautiful story. Now, were you attracted to him initially, or did it develop over time? I'm curious about that too. Because I feel like sometimes God puts men in our lives and we don't always acknowledge him, so to speak. Tell us more about that. Did you know that this was somebody you would be interested in or not? And not to mention,
I so apologize, everybody.
and girl, you hold on, Nikki, because we got some good comments coming through. And not to mention, they men wasn't really happy in their relationship. Would you look at this one? Read this one right here. I do all that for all that money out. I'm holding on. You gotta understand one thing about business. You can do it for 10 years and then one day you just catch on. I don't know what that means, Landy.
Okay, I'm kind of lost where you at, but I was listening when you had the this one here about the
Wait, hold on. Vanessa mentioning the 80-20 rule, honey. The 80-20, yes.
wait, let me
Some
see.
women have a good man that's an 80, but want to try a bad boy that ends up to be a 20.
Okay, I'm lost. Where are you? Because I went back to that one discussion I was listening to you guys saying, because this saying is something that I so believe and have said to myself and told different women time and time
Wait,
again.
hold on, Nikki. I'm sorry. I'm excited. I just
No,
want
no,
to
no,
catch.
no, no, no. Why are you gonna cut me off. I don't.
Oh my God, because there's so many good comments.
Well, we're gonna get to them. Calm down. But
Okay, I'm sorry.
I really did want to come back. I'm so apologetic that I have too many windows open. But this is a comment that is so true, that you will never get what you need, what God has promised for you, if you're holding on to something that is not for you. Let that other person's person go, because this is my belief about relationships with people. Some people are put in your life to grow you and release you. But a lot of times we get into the feeling where we growing somebody, and because we grew them, we don't want to grow them for somebody else. We want to keep them to ourselves. But that's not necessarily the purpose. The purpose could have been that you're growing that person for his ideal mate, or he's growing you for your ideal mate. The person that you with does not necessarily mean that that's the person you're supposed to be with. And as soon as you let go of that ego, and I'll admit, I've been in relationships like that where I didn't really even care for that person as much as I just didn't want him to be with somebody else. And how selfish is that? Right? So, okay, go. Sorry.
I done lost. It's so many good comments coming through. Like, I can't even keep up. But I really like this one that Kim said. Kim said, and please, ladies, don't be afraid to approach someone you see and find interesting. You have nothing to lose. You're already single. And I'm here for that. I mean, that's me all day, every day. That's me all day, every day. But I have to tell you,
Actually, that's spoken to my spirit, Kim, because I'm one of them people that I would never approach
you would never. And what do you have to lose? Like, we used to joke all the time when we was hanging out, because I could talk to a hole in the wall. That's never been my issue. And I've made some really great friendships that way. Like, I've met a lot of people that way. So that was never a thing for me. But to your point, the other thing is, to your point, and I truly believe this, they say hindsight is 2020. I had a great relationship initially with my first husband, but I don't believe that was God ordained. And when I look back now, I feel like I may have seen all the red flags, but didn't adhere to them, because I thought, he's a great guy, this is all going to work out, and da-da-da-da-da. I never saw my second husband coming. I didn't see it at all. But when you back out and you let God do what he do, he puts certain people in your path. The people that he already knows that are, listen, that are good for you. Y'all good for each other. Is everything perfect? No, hell no. But sometimes you have to really get out of your own way. That's the point that I'm trying to make. Sometimes you have to get out of your own way and just let things happen. You know what, Kim? Kim being real messy in here tonight. She gonna say, I ain't believe it either. All right, Kim, don't put my business in the street like that. But yeah, sometimes you have to kind of get out of your own way and let things kind of happen organically and just kind of see where it goes. But there's definitely something to be said about being in a relationship with somebody who is there for you kind of like wholeheartedly. And again, the companionship it's not just sex. Yes, sex is important. We've established that. But there's so much more that really goes into it, right? And so I think that that's something that we have to acknowledge. So I'm just trying to figure out how we get our sisters there. How do we get there?
Yeah, because I mean, and the show was about dating. So for me, I think my biggest hurdle would be dating. How would I even
get out there, right? I wouldn't even know how to get out there.
And to be open and honest and transparent as somebody in my condition at this particular time, some people may not know, not to share my business, but it's just the way it is for me. I have ALS. And right now I can't walk. There's a lot of things that I can't do. For me to be in a relationship with somebody, I would almost be totally dependent on that person in a lot of ways. So how do you even approach somebody and say, okay, I'm still open for dating. I'm still, my mind is still fine. Sure. Yes, everything else I think is intact. But I'm just dealing with this right now. And then on top of that, we know that I'm not going to claim it, but it's a deadly disease. somebody might not want to be bothered with somebody that they know that there's a real possibility they could lose in the very near future. So it's a lot of things that go into dating that, you know, a lot of people, you just don't know how to approach it. And what about the rejection part of it? You know, just like men don't want to be rejected, women don't want to.
Women don't want to be rejected either.
So I think it's more ego bruising for a woman to be rejected than a man in some ways, because in my mind, you know, we have this stereotype of men, you know, they'll try anything, you know. So if they're not trying you, is you like, oh, well, what's wrong with me? You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of different things to dating that make it very hairy for somebody once they get over a certain age.
Right. I don't know. I just look. And I don't even know. I keep going back to that. I think I just would not even know where to start. Like, I would just be like, I don't know. Everything just feels so superficial to me now. Which is the scariest part, which I think is where this whole I really do believe that this is where this whole conversation came from, right? The fact that here we are in 2020 and everything is just so generic. You know, people are finding, and I'm not, listen, I'm not condemning anybody who dates online. If it's for you, if it works out beautiful, I'm happy for you. But I'm just saying, this was unheard of. Way back in the day, you would have never thought about, there weren't even computers. So you would have never thought about meeting somebody online, much less not being able to talk to them. Like, people go on with relationships for extensive periods of time without even ever seeing each other. Who does that?
Right.
Like, I think about those catfish shows that I mentioned, and I'm like, I can be in a conversation with somebody for 10 years that I never saw. After a couple of months, I'd be like, bruh, what we doing? Where we going?
Right.
You know, because that conversation is gone. And when I say intimacy, I'm not talking sex. I'm talking, you know, just being able to sit down and have a conversation, meet in a bar, meet at a restaurant, look each other in the eye, look each other in the face. Like, all of that is out the window nowadays. So it's like you don't know who to like or who to trust. You know what I'm saying? Or who's running game, or who's, like we talked about tonight, who's saying one thing to me and then something else to somebody else. Like, you just don't know. And so that heightens our senses, right? It makes us even more leery about what's going on. And it just becomes a vicious cycle. So I think that's where this whole conversation was birthed. It's like, how do you date? If you want to be in a relationship, you want to be in a committed relationship with somebody, how do you date now in 2020? How does that even work?
Very difficult, because I mean, for me, I need to see your eyes.
Yeah, like something.
Because, you know, a lot of people, like, I know for me, I could write the best love letter in the world, you know, because I like to write. But that doesn't mean that what I'm writing is necessarily true to who I am until you see my face, my expression, how I approach you, you know, because I'm a big proponent of, I wanna see and feel it. Don't say it. I'm not I don't need affirmations.
Well, it's that whole action speaks louder than words, right? You could say one thing, but your actions show something completely different.
Right.
So
I need to see.
Go into whatever is developing with an open mind. Enjoy being who you are authentically in that man's presence. Yeah, but you have to get in their presence in order for that to happen, right? Martine, I think that's what we're saying.
How do you get to that?
Yeah.
So I guess I got to just start. I can't walk up no more. I got to start rolling up to people and be like, hey.
And if that's the case, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Okay, guys, we are running down on the time. I want to get the last few quotes and comments in here. Yes, Tanya, I'm really gonna work on that, and I'm gonna take it out of my mind, because in my mind anyway, I'm a conqueror. I dream about myself walking and running and everything, so I'm not giving into it. It's just, you know,
I am more than a conqueror.
Um,
You gotta love me.
Jessica says, God is good. It took her 20 years. And I'm also with my childhood friend as well. Oh, wow. And soulmate. And that's another question I want to ask. I mean, it's kind of like, going backwards, but I've heard this saying before. I don't necessarily believe it or know how true it is, or I don't have any statistics on it, but I've heard the saying that sometimes when you find your mate earlier in life, that those mates usually last longer. Like you'll have a longer lasting relationship as opposed to meeting somebody later in life. Like
Vanessa says she met her husband when she was 8.
right. Like I often wonder, I was married before. Would I still be married to my husband if he was alive?
Yeah, you wasn't going nowhere.
How you know? You don't
I
know.
know.
Because I really kind of feel like I'm a totally different person. I know that I'm a totally different person than I was when I did marry him. So would we have grown together? Would we be on the same page? I don't know. Those are things I don't know. But I do know that I started dating him when I was 14. And if he was still alive today, this will be 30 years into a marriage.
And it would be 30 years. Look, Robin almost 30 years. How long has it been, Robin? Robin said yes. And Robin pushing 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know Robin has an amazing husband. Look, you ain't finna be the star of this show, Robin, but I will give my brother-in-law his props.
Yes, he gets all the props.
He gets all the props.
And must I say before we close out, that's one thing, and one of the reasons I think both of us kind of wanted to have the show, right, Michelle? Is
Yeah.
that we just love and adore the idea of Black women being loved on and taken care of and treasured. I love that. I mean, all women, really, all women, because the show's for all women. But it's even more precious to see it for Black women because it sometimes can be a rarity for us. So, I mean, salute to all you ladies out there, 40, older, younger, who have found your mate. I am so happy for you. And I hope that you will have continued love, long-lasting relationships. Michelle, because we got to get out of here. It's almost 8 o'clock.
Listen, I don't want to leave my good girlfriends.
Right. Don't this feel like we have our good girlfriend?
I mean, we had amazing comments tonight, amazing insight. A nice group of women too, like a mixture of everything. Look, tell Tony I said hey. So Tanya, look, Tanya, is my girlfriend, right? So her husband's real name is Gary. Don't ask me where I got Tony from, but for the longest time, every time I see him, I'll be like, "Hey, Tony." He'd be like, "How you doing?" I don't even remember how I even found out that wasn't his name, and I was like, "Why would you let me call you Tony?" And I would be serious. Why would you let me call you Tony? So tell Tony I said, "Hey." So it's like a joke now because he always be like, "Tell Michelle Tony I said Tony said hi." Yeah, Martina, I think we need more time too. I think this was just amazing. I had so much fun with you ladies. Listen, we got to just keep on keeping on. We got to keep on keeping on. We got to keep lifting each other up. We got to keep empowering each other. Um yeah, we got to do it for ourselves, and that's what this is all about. But we understand that we can all be vulnerable, we can all be open, and we can all this is the part of the reason that it's the ladies room, and we joke and talk about how no men are allowed in here, is because we want this to be a place where we can come together and seriously be vulnerable, right?
Michelle, vulnerable is such a good. I love that word.
Yes,
That's
like
a word you need for even dating. You need to be.
I mean, but it's something that we could talk about amongst ourselves. We can share our insecurities. We can share our shortcomings. We can be uplifting to each other. Maybe something that somebody says or somebody comments on in the notes will be something that you'll carry with you for the rest of the week. Maybe somebody will say something that you didn't think of from that perspective, right? And you could say, well, I never really looked at it that way. So, let me try this or let me share this. This is a safe haven. That's what it's meant to be. That's why it's called the ladies' room. This is a place where we can come and we can get together and we can share and we can lift each other up and we can empower each other. Because listen, we living in some trying times, and all we have is each other. And so if we can help some, just even one person along the way, then how's the saying go? As my pastor would always say, then our living is not in vain. If we've said something or done something to make one person feel good or empower or lift, then we've done a great job. Listen, we right at the 8 o'clock hour, Nikki. We don't want to hold anybody up, but this was a great night. This was a great night. Thank you, ladies, everyone who participated and commented. We live for this stuff.
And we
We
love you
live for it.
guys,
And
really.
we love all you guys. Thank you so much for being here. We don't take your presence for granted. We look forward to being with you each and every Thursday. We want to make this thing grow. We
Yeah.
want to get to the place where we have a room where we just like busting out the comments. And so, tell a friend,
So,
tell a friend to tell a friend, like and subscribe.
yes, because we're on YouTube. If you go on the Cheryl Ward, like and subscribe.
And
And at
yeah.
any time, if anybody ever wanted to actually show up in the screen, you just let me know in the comments, and you'll be side by side with Michelle and I for more continued discussion. So, Michelle, final words.
I love you guys. I can't wait to get back together. I can't wait to find out what we're talking about next week.
Well, Michelle's from your list. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. I love you, girl. I love you, girls.
We love you
Make
guys.
sure you come back next week, though. Make sure you come back next week.
Yes, and we'll
And
see.
some of y'all already know if you ain't here, I'm gonna be hitting you up.
Yes.
So
We'll see you then. Bye bye.
thank you. Love you guys. Bye.